Hello, this is Abram, and welcome back to the Success Podcast, where I'm going to teach you everything I've learned to be successful physically, mentally, and emotionally, and financially. No guest today, just me, because I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind quite a bit recently, which is just being incredibly lucky. So, I heard this finance YouTuber talk about how he's been successful financially, and as I'm hearing his story, I'm like, he bought in at the bottom of the market, which was lucky that the market happened to be down when he can invest in it. He was lucky that he had enough money to invest because he was successful in a career. He had a career that he enjoyed and loved doing, which is also lucky. And then he starts a YouTube channel to talk about this, and then that YouTube channel blows up, and then he becomes really wealthy from the YouTube channel, which is also really lucky. Obviously there's skill and stuff that goes into that, and it's not entirely luck, but there is a large component of luck to it. It reminds me of when I hear people say that there'll be a drunk driver and he gets in this horrific car accident. Car's just absolutely totaled. Then the drunk driver comes out of that accident completely unscathed. And what's the thing he says? The drunk driver survived because he was so drunk, his muscles were all relaxed. And that's what really saved him in the car accident, which is why he didn't die. That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. There's something called survivorship bias. You're only hearing from the people that are still alive. And this happens with every aspect of our life. You could be that finance YouTuber who got incredibly lucky and is now giving advice, even though a large component of his success was just the fact that he was incredibly lucky. Then you also have the drunk driver who survived and came out unscathed in a horrific car accident. But the only reason they can talk about it is because they're still alive. But there's probably a bell curve on all of these. And when you're taking advice from people and how to be incredibly lucky is not good advice. like this is how you become incredibly lucky. It's just is terrible advice. And the thing is that you're only going to hear from the people that are successful. So right away you're only hearing from the people that have survived whatever that thing is. So there's probably a bell curve. So at the beginning of the bell curve, let's use the drunk driver as an for instance. Bell curve, fender bender, of course everyone is fine. Then you go into a typical car accident. There's probably a bell curve where everyone is dead because it was a horrific car accident. They killed themselves, they killed the other person because it's a drunk driver. And then at the bottom of that bell curve, you have people that were in a horrific car accident but came out completely unscathed. The reason you're hearing about them, one, it's an incredible story that they can come out of that. Two, they're looking for a past logic for why they even survived it. You're not surviving a car accident because your muscles are relaxed. That doesn't even make sense. Who's going to get hit going 80 miles an hour and be like, oh yeah, as long as I'm not tense, I won't die? That doesn't it doesn't make any sense at all. Then you look at the finance YouTuber. I mean, I could use a million examples of this, but let's say there's what? How many YouTubers exist? Million. Let's just use a million. There's probably more than a million YouTubers, but let's say there is 1 million YouTubers that exist. How many of those YouTubers put out YouTube videos consistently? We can shrink that number. Maybe there's 300,000 of the million that actually put out content consistently. Of those 300,000, how many can make a career out of it? It's probably less than 1% of total YouTubers can even talk about this. But then they end up being successful, and then they will attribute their success to things that they did, which is in part true. But also a large component of it is just they're incredibly lucky. So I also see this with people that will they'll be really successful in some aspect of their life, and they'll make money from it. Then immediately they'll try to sell a course on it because they were successful one time in it. And that's a big fallacy in why so many of these places will pop up, they die out, pop up, die out, is because they are attributing their success to the wrong aspects. So what got you here won't get you there. So I saw this with a post that someone made. He has a Facebook group for aspiring, or not aspiring, successful online fitness business owners is what his page is. And he said, I made $1 million in 1 month. And he's like, this is amazing. He's like, I don't say this to impress you, but to impress upon you what's possible. And he talks about his mindset and whatnot, and how he, his rags to riches story that everyone seems to have. But which is fine that he made the money. I think that's awesome that he can make that much money. But the really bad thing with that is that he ends the post saying, you know, I can help you make this money too. But he didn't make $1 million in 1 month by being an online fitness trainer. He made $1 million in 1 month by selling how to be a successful fitness trainer, which in itself is not a bad thing. That's fine. But to say that you can make that money doing something separate than what he's doing, if he was selling a course on how to sell other people on how to make a course and then be successful with it, that would make a lot more sense to say he can teach it. But the fact that he says you can do this yourself by like being an online fitness trainer is probably not true. Like even myself, like I'm an online health and fitness coach. The fact that my first year of business I'm profitable is already like incredibly lucky. So obviously, you know, I do things that are in my power to have that success. You know, I literally offer a 100% money back guarantee that my clients will see the results they want to see physically, mentally, and emotionally. That is an insane guarantee that can only be held up if I can actually deliver at a high level for my clients, which is why that works. But there's also things that made me incredibly lucky to be able to have a business like this. One, we had a national pandemic, and the fact that we had a pandemic made it so people are looking for health and fitness online. And the fact that I started my business in January, right when there's a lot of like people doing New Year's resolutions and they want to get in shape and they want to change who they are for next year, which is great. That's also good for my business. But should you take advice from me on how to be, you know, a very successful health and fitness trainer online? Depends. You know, if I were to give you advice on how to get incredibly lucky with it, you know, how to hope that there is a national pandemic and that health and fitness online is going to take off, no, that'd be terrible advice. But if I gave you advice on how to set up your systems, how to deliver for clients on a high level, that'd be fine because it's something I'm currently doing, something I'm really good at. And honestly, I could probably make a lot more money selling how to be a really good trainer than I can actually being a really good trainer. And this is just because I would be able to deliver a lot more value to a lot more people. There's nothing wrong with that. Like say I was in real estate and I am like the number one person that is buying rental properties and holding them for the long term. And I'm number one in the country. And I make let's say I make $2 million a year doing that, which is a crazy amount of money. But then I come out with a course that teaches people how to do this, how to, you know, grow your rental property portfolio across the country. I could make a lot more money doing that. Even though I'm number one in what I do, there's just a lot more people that would benefit from that. There'd be a lot more value exchange. I'd be able to help a lot more people, and then I'd be able to make a lot more money. That doesn't mean that, you know, I'd be a bad person for selling something that would make me more money than my given thing. It's just like supply and demand. You know, it's just like how much value can you create for the marketplace? How much is what you offer worth to people? If you have an offer that can, you know, build money for people, that's a much easier thing to sell than like health and fitness coaching. You know, even though I offer a 100% guarantee, it'd be a lot easier to sell how to become a coach than it would be to actually be a coach. And you have to be the right person if you want to have this. You know, like I have employees now, which is crazy that I can even think about that I have a business that can sustain this. The fact that I own a house and I bought this house 4 years ago and it's doubled in value. I'm not like some real estate guru. How did I know that interest rates were going to like plummet and that housing prices were just going to skyrocket? There's no way I would have known that for sure. I just thought I was going to do it for the long term. And then I got incredibly lucky with that. So I want to turn this place into a rental property eventually. But now I'm living in a house that is like half of, basically like half the price of what it would be right now. That's incredibly lucky. So when you're taking advice from people, think, is this survivorship bias? Or is this because they're currently doing it and this is a good strategy to follow? It's not always where are they actually making their money right now. It is how many people have they helped in that thing? Are they currently doing it? And that would be a really good indicator. Like I wouldn't hire a coach that has only been doing that thing for like a year. I would have someone that's been doing it for years. and has a track record of helping people. Like, people that work with me, they have confidence working with me as their health and fitness coach, because I've been working in health and fitness for like a decade, literally, off and on, part-time, full-time, and now it's a full-time job. But I've been doing it for so long that I've gotten really freaking good at it. And that's why people can trust it. And obviously I offer a 100% guarantee, which helps with the trust factor. But does that mean that I should sell a course on how to be a successful online health and fitness coach? Right now, the answer is no. Because I haven't been doing it long enough, nor would that be something I'm really excited about right now. Maybe in the future, and I've had multiple people this year ask me if I could be their coach for, do I offer a coaching program so I could teach people to do what I did? And I'm like, no, like, I'm not the right person to learn from. I learned from someone on how to do it. So I send them over to, like, my mentor who helped me grow a business. So, because she's helped hundreds of people do it. And it's not just survivorship bias when you have a track record. So that also reminds me of, like, this salesman that it was the #1 car salesman in the country. And then he took that, and then he started selling how to do it. But he was selling it for so long that all of his tactics made no sense anymore. He used to literally call people, like, out of the phone book and lie to them and make it seem like they had appointments, they had, like, cars and all these different things. He would lie to them to get them to come in to buy a car. That doesn't work now. Like, we know there's scammers, we know there's things in there, but he sold all these things and, like, how you should write handwritten notes to these people and stuff. And, like, that was good advice, like, 40 years ago, but it doesn't apply now. So you really want to learn from people that are currently doing it or currently helping people that do it, because they'll learn from their students, too. So those are my thoughts on becoming incredibly lucky, and the fact that a lot of us are really lucky. And we can use that as an excuse to not be successful, or we can use that as a reason for why we will be successful. Luck is there for all of us. We are all incredibly lucky in some way. If you look for the reasons why you will be successful, you'll find them. If you look for all the reasons you won't be successful, you'll find those too. Hope you like this, and I have other podcasts. You should check them out. Thanks for watching.